This is Jordan Grace, and you're listening to the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
BWB, this is One Nation Radio. You better get it right. Rich Latta, James Boyd came to give them life. The Blackest Wrestling Podcast has come to kick all ass and drop it 6 feet if they kicking trash. Word, let me welcome y'all to something different. And if you dig it, man, you should let some friends listen. We be getting it in, this on the regular, dude. Ravish and flow, but this shit rude. See, James don't rap, so I had to break it down. The whole network, man, we coming for the crown. Raps in the columns, I keep them both covered. Making the beats too, so the listeners can bump it. Hit us with the rating, yeah, I'm saying it's a 5. Before you hit it, talk, bob your head side to side. It's One Nation Radio, and this is the beginning. It's Rich, and I'm here with James. It's time to listen to One Nation.
We got to unleash the power of the pyramid.
This is Mike Sempervive from WrestlingObserver.com. Check me out on Wrestling Observer Live every day. And also check out your boys, Rich and James, on One Nation Radio.
This is Kenny Omega. We're listening to One Nation Radio. Check it out, guys. These guys know what's up. Big Kenny Omega fans. That's all that counts to me. Goodbye and good
night. Bang. Welcome to the June 1st edition of One Nation Radio. I am your host, Rich Latta. Of course, here with my co-host, James Boyd. James, what's going on, man? Now that I got the audio right, I hope.
Look, I guess fourth time is a charm. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, man, I'm here and I'm can't wait to hear you talk about your live experience watching this show because I thought it was, it's obviously one of the best shows of the year. But I think the live experience is something different because, like, to be quite honest, I think the best part about the show was y'all. So I can't wait to hear what your insights were from live.
Man, being in that show, there's a reason that this show is coming out later than it's supposed to, and it's because my voice was fucking shattered last night. And I made it pretty much until the main event, and then like when they came back into the arena, I just like emptied the gun, and then I felt like I had like someone had stabbed my throat with like a damn like sword or something like that. That's what it felt like. And I attended the show with Chad Matthews, the Doc, and Dave Finichel, and we were all in agreement that this was like one of the great shows of all time. Like, it was just like, it was a religious experience. Like, I could tell the night was special when Justin Roberts came out and everybody gave a big pop or a Road Warrior pop to Justin Roberts. And I was like, huh? And then, of course, you know, you roll into the pre-show with Serena Deeb and Riho. Did you get a chance to catch that match, James?
I did not. I've heard good things, though.
Yeah, it's like 4 or 4 1/4 at least. And people were living dying with every near fall in the pre-show. It was just like, everyone knew why they were there. The crowd was not going to let this show fail. And we just felt like we wanted to go nuts, like off of everything. And it was like, especially like some of the entrances, like the John Moxley Wild Thing stuff, when Jungle Boy won the Battle Royal, and just different during the three-way, just people actually biting on all those near falls and all that. I bit on one of them, and I was like, damn near knew wasn't no title change about to happen. But yeah,
was it on the ref pull?
No, I don't think it was. I think it was a different one. I think it was okay. When he fell. I think when Kenny was in the brutalizer, and then Pac got knocked out the ring. I think it was around that one. I'm not mistaken. If I'm not mistaken, Britt was like very over. Like, everyone was over. It was a great experience. Like
except for Cody.
I'll tell you about that. I'll tell you about that because I'll give you the live, like what I was kind of felt like I was seeing. Now, my live perspective may differ from someone else's, but we'll get to it when we get to that match. But Hangman, like, no concerns about the Hangman anymore. Like, it just was like I said, it's the best show I've ever attended. Like, I can't think of anything like you brought up TakeOver New York, I believe, before, but this is just different. Like, it's just like, I don't know if it was because everyone was happy to just be back in the arenas, or it was just like AEW getting their crowd back, because it was like this at the last pay-per-view before, we went into the shutdown, which is AEW Revolution 2020. And it was just a very special night all around, especially, and I was glad to make the 4-hour drive to Jacksonville and back. I was just happy, and I was like, damn, if it's like that, like any Jacksonville show, shit, I'll go out there. But yeah, man, let's
my perspective from watching it, live is like there were a lot of things that got in the way from it filming the way. Obviously, you can't recapture being in the crowd live for something like that. But I believe that most of these shows are mostly shot and done and produced for TV more than live fans at times. So some of the stuff that happened on this show while watching. Most of these matches were really good, but like there were certain things and also patterns that you kept seeing coming out. They're just kind of like, okay, maybe they're not like they're things that make you hate the show, because obviously not. I love the show, but there were things that was like, okay, they did this again, and they did this in the next match, and then they did this in the next match, and like also Ross was just.
I heard about that.
Ross was off his game. Ross was off his game. Like I want to say this is about as bad as he's ever been since he's been like broadcasting. Or sure I remember calling him since like him doing Wrestle Kingdoms.
Wow.
Like it was like it wasn't like, but still him like granted, the things we normally get on Ross for is when it's like he's saying stuff like talking about women's weight or whatever else or in shit, and that's irrelevant, but. Or him, clearly getting pissed off that, like, the Young Bucks have, besmirched the tag rules. But as far as him actually just calling, knowing the story, telling the story, remembering names and knowing what the story beats are, he was just kind of like, he knew everything, but it just couldn't, like, for some reason, it wasn't coming out of his mouth in the way they normally, just does with E. So, but they still had, but at the same time, you still had like Shivani and you still had Excalibur covering them, and they were normal great selves. It just was just kind of off from that perspective. Callis wasn't nearly as bad. He called not only the Omega match, he also called the Young Bucks match.
I ended up watching the Young Bucks
and during the Young Bucks match, he's not nearly as sufferable during calling the Young Bucks match as he is when he calls the Omega match, but. On the scale of how much he can annoy me during Omega matches, probably like somewhere a 7 out of 10. So like he was relatively in check until he decided to get his ass off he says, "Oh, gotta go," and then to pull the ref. So you could say like this is probably his craziest performance. Like I don't call him ever interfering in Omega match before, but as far as just him not being obnoxious like throughout a Omega match. He was pretty like in check.
Yeah, man. But that I'll start with the pre-show. Hell of a match from Serena Deeb and Riho. Riho was the first one through the curtain, and she got a huge response. Rio's now moving to America officially. I believe they brought it up on commentary, and then Riho actually put out a video on Twitter that said her base of operations is moving to the United States. I believe she's starting a fan club as well. So, yeah, she basically comes out. Serena Deeb came out, and everyone cheered for Serena Deeb also. And then Serena Deeb kind of turned herself in the match by slapping her, and immediately everyone got behind Riho. And there was a lot of like smooth work from Serena. Riho was like a little like off her game, it looked like, but Serena just like basically she like ring general this shit. For me, she's feeling like the woman's version of Tanahashi. Like, of course, while the Dragon Screws and like just the ring generalship, the high IQ wrestling, she did tons of like cool reversals into like your half crabs and just spinning out. I believe she's using like a tequila sunrise kind of as a finish right now, and she ended up getting the victory over Riho. They should definitely do like that. So I've seen them have 2 matches together. And the one on TV was pretty much comparable to the one we got on the pre-show. Like, it's probably the best pre-show match I've seen since, like, the New Day and the Usos.
Yeah, that's a funny thing because I was hearing that on shows about like it's one of the, is that the best pre-show match people have ever seen? One I immediately go to is that SummerSlam 2017 Usos New Day one. So, so I mean, it's a pre-show match, whatever, but I'll check it out when I get a chance.
Yeah, so that rolls us into starting the card and that Hangman Page against Brian Cage. I thought Cage was gonna pull out a victory here, but he did not. They here they did just like everything in this match. It was just come out here, blow the fucking roof off. Crowd was insane for this match. I can attest to that. Hangman got a monster response. I put a video out, was like, is this Hangman or 87 Hogan? What the fuck's going on? Like, and all the cowboy shit chants. What'd you think of this? Because I fucking loved it. I gave this a 4.5.
This is a great match. I gave it 4 flat. I really enjoyed the part where, they start, because Cage is because he's short, but he's also just so wide and just muscular, like, and he could do all these things that you just don't imagine someone, and has all the flexible ability of someone that you just can't imagine it. Like, you look at him, you think he's had a hard time trying to wipe his ass, and then he does the stuff he does. It's just so incredible. That's what makes him such a interesting watch. So once he, once you get the part where they start doing each other moves like the he F5s big ass Cage, and then Cage goes for the buckshot, but then like he gets over and then he sells it if he can't actually get over and do it right, which gives Heyman opportunity to hit him with a lariat, and then he goes and actually hits it. Like it was really cool. Like they I wouldn't say they fully emptied the gun. I think there's a better match in them, but this just made me think of like what did I like most about Hangman when he was a singles wrestler in AEW, and it was his matches, his upper card matches against Pop in that series, and like there is now a place to do a third match between them in a similar fashion, and like all their matches are fun, obviously different because the first match was more of him fighting from underneath after getting beat down before the bell, but like there is a place for a rubber match if they decide to do that. With the ensuing stuff with, or the continuing stuff with his fracture or weird relationship with Ricky Starks, like this could be a situation where it could be Cage and Page and tag team or whatever else potentially or whatever. But that's kind of getting ahead of ourselves. But like this match was fun as hell. It was fun. I really enjoyed it. Really did.
Yeah, man. When they did like
I think this is Cage's best. I think this is Cage's best match in AEW.
I agree. When they did that F5 off the top rope, that was crazy. Hangman was doing his moonsaults. It just felt like, we back, baby. Like that's what it was. Like, especially in the building, and I like the interference made sense. With Cage previously being hinted at having issues within Team Taz, and the interference only kind of made it better. Of course, do you want like a one-on-one, just no bullshit thing? Sure, but this is going to spin Cage into something else, as you mentioned, possibly that tag team opportunity. Hell of a win for Hangman Page. What do you make of the Hangman standing kind of? Because we worried. I don't think we're necessarily like I wouldn't say that we're not fans of Hangman Page, but we are judging this thing like we are keeping score on the race, like with him and Darby and what's happening as far as between them two. I don't know if we've misread this or just we were reacting to it, but it seems like the Hangman's in a lot better condition than I felt like we had him at.
Well, the main thing was he's over, despite the fact that like there's no reason that he should be that over, given like the stuff he's done and the things and the fact that like his character, like he doesn't really talk that much. He doesn't do vignettes like Darby does that make him unique. Like there's nothing that stands out besides like, oh, he's like the 50th babyface I've seen drink beer, and he dressed like, and he's a cowboy. It's like, okay. Like kind of like it just well tread territory. So for me, like I don't see any distinguishing thing that makes him stand out beyond the archetypes he's thrown into. Like I did enjoy like the story with him in the sense with or towards the end once we actually got towards the match with the Bucks or whatever else. Like I enjoyed that much. enjoy that a lot. Like, I wonder if it is a guy that like more or less is better when he's actually a conflict to then like talk about what his promos. Like, we talk about NXT all the time, where it's like their promos aren't hitting until there's actually like a direction, and then they can go face to face and cut a promo on each other, how much the other one fucking sucks and how much they want to beat each other's ass. Like, that's the backbone of NXT. Maybe Paige is that kind of person where like he can't, he does the comedy stuff or whatever else, but like he's more of the straight man that like, as the Dark Order kind of bounces around off of them. Mm-hmm. So he just as a personality, he's not kind of out there in a normal traditional sense of charisma. Like, he's not Cody, regardless of whatever we feel about Cody right now. Like, he's just not someone that's come out there, put his heart on his sleeve and say, fucking love me, flaws and all. Like, he's not that person.
I think he took a big step towards that.
We talk about how he's the emo cowboy.
I was gonna say, I think we took he took a big step towards kind of, holding his arm out and touching the screen was when he was cutting the promo on Dynamite, when he had all that blood flowing down his face and all that. But
when he got hard weighed,
because it was like, it gave him a reason to feel some emotion.
And I think that's what I mean as far as like, I think maybe his thing might just be like he can't really dig into something unless it's actually like a full on face-to-face conflict. So like maybe that might be it, and if that's the case, then fine. Like, there's why that can't just be what he does, right? Like, so I'm as far as the matches, I'm never concerned about his matches. Like, once we got that Warlord match, I have not been concerned about matches ever since. Like, the Matt Hardy thing from last pay-per-view wasn't all that good, but like
I think he did as good as he could do. I think he did as good as he could do with Matt Hardy.
Right.
So
so we never held that against him, but our whole thing was like, hey man, there's no crowds around, and the crowd is the main thing that buoyed him. As far as his his character, it's not something that fully I can sink my teeth into. But either way, like he's over. He's super talented.
I think he has like a special.
We'll see where it goes. Like, I
was gonna say,
I still think Darby's ahead of him though.
I think he has, along with Darby and like someone like a Jungle Boy, all three of those guys have like a special charisma that's connecting with younger people. And they may be younger than us or whatever, but I feel like I see it a little bit more in Darby.
No, right.
But,
Now, what I will say is this. Now, as far as I think Darby's ahead of Hangman, I think Hangman's ahead of Jungle Boy. I just think people have yet to fully believe it at the top of the card yet, which is like the point of him winning this battle royal. Like, maybe he wins this. He goes out there, has a match with Kenny, and then 6 months from now, it's obviously a slow build, but like, I think Darby and Hangman are the top of this, bumbling underground babyface thing, or upper mid card babyface thing that'll break through. Like, those are two that will make it. We'll see I'm pretty sure they all will make it to some extent. Like, but I think we need to track Jungle Boy more as a future NT champion than AEW champion for at least like 2 years.
Yeah, I told Chad comment before the show, we were talking about Jungle Boy, and I was like, and he actually was kind of asked me what did I think Kenny has to really accomplish like going forward, and I was like, he needs to kind of find someone that to make in his image in this promotion. And I look at Jungle Boy and I'm like, man, he's so young. He's a really great wrestler. And if Kenny can like kind of use the mirror of himself, like of how they made him, like someone to basically like he's gonna beat for a while until he actually gets that win. And I'm talking like maybe 3-4 years from now. Do like one match a year and just Kenny beats him every time until he finally beats Kenny. I'm thinking about like in that next class, like who are your like who's gonna carry that Kenny Omega spot. Like I'm looking at it like The Wire, essentially. Like, who's gonna be that guy? And I don't know if Jungle Boy can do that, but like he's a damn good place to start looking. Like, because he never fucks anything up in the ring, never botches. Like he's very unique. And he's just super young. So like if you can think by the time
except for that Bear Country match.
Was that on him though?
there was clear miscommunication on both sides. But it's one match out of everything else you're talking about. So it's not a big deal.
Yeah, but by the time he's like 27, 28, like grows into his grown man body a little bit more, I think he's like you know, like you said, we should be tracking him at a slower pace, but he may have the highest potential, like as far as like being like just a can't miss guy, maybe. Because I'll go for it.
I think he also has the luxury of. I think he also has the luxury of like like, you know, we talk about this one, like when you hit wins and losses matter, then different things matter at different levels, right? So like it's gonna be a accomplishment when he becomes the TNT champion and he's basically the TV champion. It's gonna be a accomplishment when him and Luchasaurus become the tag team champions. Like that can hold him for 2 years right there.
Right. While the other two kind of, as they establish more guys, he's gonna be like that third wave. Like, you know how they say, like, the third wave of, like, you know, like, of Atlanta or something like that is, like first wave is your Outcast. The second wave is, like, your new Crunk or, you know, your pre-Crunk era. Then the third wave is, like, T.I. and all that after that or whatever. I may have it wrong, but he's in that third wave. Like, yeah, but let's get to this tag team match. Quite possibly one of the hottest matches I've ever been involved with in person. Seeing, like, hearing Wild Thing in the arena, I knew it was going to ring off. I was singing. Eddie Kingston, everyone loved him. Moxley just, like, walking around, banging the fucking beer off his head like he's the fucking Sandman. The Bucks coming out there and just, like, silencing motherfuckers again. Like, this was like, I looked at Chad, we looked at each other like 5 stars ? Like, it was just like, it felt like a slightly less fortunate man's version of what Kenny and Hangman versus the Bucks. I won't say poor man's because I feel like poor man's would be insulting it. But yeah, it like, if you want a Young Bucks match to look like a fight, well, what the fuck was this? Like, that's what I want to know. Like this shit was like, it was incredible. With Kingston doing his, you know, All Japan moves and all that, and Mox getting to tap into his tag team roots, and they had to put this man down with 4 BTE triggers. Like, this was like a brutal unleashing, I think, of the Young Bucks, and I'm glad to say I kind of said they should keep the belts here because they can still go places with them, because I feel like they have something going. Like, they were getting real heat, they were getting boos. Young Bucks sucks chants were very loud in the building, of course, I think out of respect too. But I'm the type of Young Bucks fan, it was just silence around me when they won, and it was just like, I don't know if people were disappointed or whatever, but they knew they saw a great match.
Great match. I like this match more than their match with FTR.
For sure.
And the thing that's interesting about it is, like, the issues I have with, I'll say issues like it's a big deal, but like, I thought the Young Bucks, like, as far as their heel package, like, was perfectly fine. Like, this is like I think this is like the best they've done it. Like, I think this is better than even them, you know, more or less retiring SCU the other night or not, the other week. But I didn't really. The match layout kind of left me like, when they built back to back hot tags off each other, I was kind of like, okay. And then, like, there was a certain point when I finally got to it later in the match, but like it didn't grab me immediately, but like it still ended up being a great match. I give it 4.5.
Yeah,
so
I'm
like
in that danger zone.
And I think
I'm in that coward zone.
Another thing with me was like, okay, yeah, I think another thing with me was like, them pinning Moxley like shocked me. Really
yeah, who's the loser now?
Like,
who's the loser now, James?
Hey, but hey, hanging out with your losing friends will get you pinned.
That was funny,
right? So, but then afterwards, and they say like, okay, but after, because I was like, okay, he like once he hit him with the BT trigger and he had the face up, like, okay, and then, you know, like at that point in time, different points start the match when they're, you know, basically just ignoring the rules, which is like, whatever, it's fine, whatever. But That you would see one of them hanging off the apron, and you're like, because like talk production, like they're not that good with yet figuring out like, hey man, and if he's going to make a save and you don't want to change the camera angle, you got to tell whoever's hanging that's a dead carcass about to make the save, he needs to get his ass out the ring or off the apron, because like he's on the apron, like okay, someone's gonna say match until Kingston in that one time. And I'm like, wait, why were you on the apron then? So yeah, like 4 BT triggers, yeah, he should be able to be pinned by that. I just thought the save was gonna be made, but the save was never happened. So whatever. But great match.
How about the reaction to Eddie Kingston?
It was hard to translate. I couldn't tell what was during the hot tags or whatever else. Like they were huge for him from the hot tags. That was obvious. But like the entrance, it's hard to tell because like so much of that shit is so many people love Moxley that it's hard to tell like what were they going, what like what's like it's hard to. We know Kingston's fucking over. We already know that. However, I think we'll find out as weeks go to come now that like they more or less took Moxley. They more or less pinned Moxley. Moxley's going to be away. So. Which is like that's smart booking. Like may as well like when he comes back, no one even think about the fact that he ended up taking 5 BT triggers to get pinned, and it's fine. Like no one should kick out of 5 BT triggers anyway, or whatever.
I heard.
So yeah, like I'm interested to see what it looks like for Kingston.
I was gonna say I heard someone say something about Eddie Kingston on Twitter. I thought that was really smart. It was like they played their cards right. Like he can be like the mankind of this promotion, and. Of course, we know he has a verbal ability to do that. He can basically, like the man. I know Mankind beat the Undertaker like several times, but ultimately, like the Undertaker fucked that man up all the time. In the same way, like Eddie Kingston can fucking lose, but like everyone just fucking loves him, and he's gonna recover. Like he always is able to reset because of his verbal ability. Like, and now that he's a babyface, I kind of compared him to Kevin Owens before. Months ago, I was like, when he turns face, he's gonna be like a everyman, and it feels like he's right on that trajectory. Like, I don't know if he'll end up getting a world title shot at some point this year, but I think he should. I don't know when, but he definitely should at least get the chance to get dropped on his head with the one in Wing Angel.
Well, I think it depends how far you want to go with the eventual, or I don't even say eventual, but like who at this point who do you see Kenny losing to? Like whether that's 6 months or that's in 9 months.
I have it pegged for Full Gear. A lot of people are wanting the Kenny and Hangman stuff at All Out, quite frankly, because they want it as soon as possible.
No, that's too early.
But that's the temperature in the streets that I'm seeing. And I'm like, y'all need to just go ahead and fuck the 9 month, go the whole fucking year so you can have the fucking perfect book ending, and then you can choose what you want to do from there. But yeah. Like
I imagine the reason why people want to do All Out would be
because of Chicago.
Like, well, that's where he failed to. Well, I was thinking like, okay, it's a 2-year anniversary or it'd be a 2-year anniversary when we failed against Jericho, so it's a redemption story at play.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to doing right there, but I think I still think it's a little too soon. I think that like you can get him peaking and up and running at a top of the card level in 6 months more than 3.
It's a damn shame. Like. I don't know if Moxley would be around, but like if Moxley was able to put over Hangman, I feel like Hangman needs to beat like Chief J Strongbow still. I feel like that. Like he needs to beat somebody else. Like that's big. Like he needs to beat Jericho. He needs to beat Jericho, Pac, Moxley, anybody that's not like or Cody. Like he needs to beat any of those people. I feel like. Hell, make him and Darby Allin fight.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah. That'd be a good match. We'll see what they come up with, but like I just think that might be a little too early, because like in 3 months, if they do Omega versus Hangman, I'm expecting Omega to beat him.
Mm-hmm.
In 6 months, then I think it actually is like could be a thing. I think it actually could be potentially. I think he's actually more of a threat in 6 months because he get hotter. He's actually has traveled this road as a single. We'll have some determination. Maybe Silver be back. We have some determination on what his actual relationship is, or where he is in the hierarchy, Dark Order, whatever else. Once he'll be straightened out some, like he'll have had like a feud or two on TV or whatever else, kind of get himself hotter. Like I think it's a little too early for 3 months from now.
Yep. But back to this World Tag Team match, the Young Bucks fucking rule. I didn't expect this match to be as great as it was, and it was. The Styles Clash turned out to work. I love the the fucking like. It was I could kind of tell like I was watching. I leaned over to Dave Finish.
It is a young.
I was gonna say it's the Young Bucks on pay-per-view. They don't fucking miss. I turned over to Dave's Finish show. I was like, where's the Usos version of this? Like where is that? And he was just like speechless almost. And I don't mean to take a crack at the Usos like that, but it's just like, yo, these guys are on another level. And Finisher ended up agreeing with me like a day later.
Well, what I was going to say to you is, we should have, in theory, there are Styles Clash or whatever, but in theory, we know he's going to work out, at least some success. Like, it's the Young Bucks versus New Japan Wrestler in all Japan 90s wrestling. Like, we should have known this shit was actually going to work. The almost 50 years wrestling, we should have known that they were just going to port this shit in like normal. They were going to do their thing, and obviously, more theatrics and charisma with Moxley and Kingston naturally. We should have known that our reasons for concern for the Styles Clash were valid, but we shouldn't have been as concerned.
And also, the Young Bucks have kind of made a career out of fighting these brawler tough guy tag teams. Like, you can take it back to them fighting the fucking Briscoes. Like this is what they do. So,
yeah.
Up next, we have the Casino Battle Royal match. I will just say the Jungle Boy got the victory here. And I'll say, like, he was so over with the song, with, like, him winning when he was in there with Christian, and we'll go back to a couple points in the match, but I just don't want to forget this thought. Like, when Christian and Jungle Boy were in there, we all assumed before this match Christian was gonna win. I was with Chad, Dave, we pretty much like, oh yeah, this is Christian all day. Then when we saw the Jungle Boy in there with him, right, it was like, call an audible. That's what I was saying. But, I don't know if an audible was called. It was probably designed for Jungle Boy to win, but I didn't know Jungle Boy would win this thing. And then when he fucking threw Christian out, we lost it. Everyone was high-fiving each other. It was just like, wow, this is what makes him stand out, because we saw Christian coming in at number 1. I leaned over to Chad. I was like, oh, so they're going to make it like his Edge, coming in from number 1 to win a Royal Rumble.
We made the same joke.
Yep.
We made the same joke.
Yep. And then, like, at the very end, instead of the old guy winning,
actually to Zach's.
Yeah, I heard. Instead of the old guy winning, the young guy fucking wins. And then, like, we were like, yes, like, this is our fucking guy, like the Jungle Boy. And I'll tell you, like, that shit, when his music was playing to end the match, was like, that might have been the hottest thing of the night. That with Britt and Mox's entrance, like it's up there. Like, there's Leo Rush was the Joker in that. So apparently Leo Rush is working for New Japan, has a contract with them, and he appeared basically on their permission. He's working in AEW on a handshake deal, so I'm sure he'll be in, a couple times. Tony Khan had talked about it. Leo Rush talked about it a little bit also, so there's plenty of matches for him, and we've kind of long wanted to see Leo eventually make his way to AEW.
Yeah, it's about damn time. I've been waiting for what? How long has he been out of WWE?
Probably like a year.
What was he in for last WrestleMania? Yeah, like that's the first place I wanted was AEW, just for the fact that like New Japan obviously best Super Junior stuff and what he could do with Homu or with Taiji Ishimori or Ryu Lee. But just far as having, I wanted him to have that that AEW Japan thing where he could work both. And it took a while, but it's here now. I can't wait to see what they do with him as far as singles match, like him versus Pat, him versus Phoenix, him versus Darby, him versus Joe Boy, him versus Guevara, like him versus Hangman. Like there's so many matches there for him to have. Him versus Dale, like there's so many matches for him to have. Penta, there's so many matches for him to have with anybody, with any other really established wrestlers in this company or workers in this company. They just go out here and just rip it up and have exhibition style matches or whatever else, and just use him as just he's here this week and then he'll be back in like a month or something like that. It's just something fun to do.
Give this man a tag team partner and give him a world tag team title match with the Bucks. Like I'm sure they've ran into each other on the indies before.
Oh yeah, PWG, I'm sure they have. So yeah, like I was happy that he came out as a joke or whatever else. Is like I wasn't sitting there for a second thinking it was gonna be Daniel Bryan or shit like that, because you wouldn't put Daniel Bryan in a Adobe Battle Royal, right? So, I mean, as far as Battle Royal itself, it was mid, but whatever. Like we ended up.
It was all right.
I think for me, yeah, like So by that point in time, you have
Caster was real over. Caster was real over in the building.
Yeah, I heard. By that point in time, Stars comes out and interferes in the cage match. We didn't mention it, but during the tag title match, you had Anderson and Gallows come out and interfere in that match. So it's, and I'm like, all right. So then I'm like, wait a second. So Isaiah Cassidy's not a legal man in this. He's in the battle just cheating. All right. So then I see Jungle Boy come out. I'm like, all right. So I was expecting like they're going to cheat really hard, and then like eventually like Luchasaurus, Marco Stunt were going to come out and clear that bullshit out, but that never happened. They cleared it out anyway, but I was like, okay, it's weird. So by the time we do, they face Cage or Christian Cage in Jungle Boy versus Matt Hardy in Private Party, I looked over to Dan and Jeremy while we were at Zach's, and I was Zach as well, and I was like, yeah, bro, like Jungle Boy has to win it. Jungle Boy should win it. I don't know if he has one. Jungle Boy should win it. It's like, it's gonna come down to him and Christian. Crowd's not gonna go for this Christian winning this shit. It needs to be Jungle Boy. And then sure enough, they played on everybody has a expectation that it's gonna be Christian by the time it was those final two, and then they threw Christian out. So I thought it was a great job for even being a mid battle royal that the right person won, which is like that is kind of point of battle royals. Like you go to that 98 Royal Rumble is like, who gives a shit? The final two, like Face Foley, Owen Hart's a dumbass or whatever else. Like the final two were The Rock, Steve Austin, and Steve Austin throws out The Rock and goes to WrestleMania. Like most battle royals are mid. That's kind of like, don't people pretend that it's not, but like that's the point. You don't get a mid battle royal and then hopefully you get the right winner, and they did that. So they did the right thing.
Yeah, Caster's entrance music carries really well in the arena. He did very well for forgetting his rhymes. I knew he clearly forgot what he was going to say.
Hey, Dustin. Hey, Dustin.
Yeah.
Hey, Dustin.
Turn your ass
hey,
around.
Dustin. Like Dustin, like, bro, just do the thing. I'm trying to like.
Bro, do you think
bullshit?
Like Dustin has no idea that Max has to wait for the beat to come back around, right?
I don't think anybody knows what's going on for Max Caster and people that are watching up John Cena to know like that, these are insult things that are done at a very basic level for everybody in the crowd to get.
Yeah.
So Dustin may have forgotten that is how that goes with the John Cena stuff, because I'm sure John Cena has set up homophobic bars at him back in like 05.
Yeah.
Probably. So
Yeah. But up next, y'all been waiting. Cody Rhodes defeats Anthony Ogogo. Man. Okay. So I saw a joke that said Cody came out here dressed like a slave master, and I damn near wanted to fall on the ground when I heard that. The reaction for Cody was not what I was expecting. I felt like I was going to be walking into a very, very, very strong pro USA environment, right? They bring out the fucking.
Well, they set it up for it.
I'm getting to that. They bring out the Wounded Warriors ahead of time, and then you already know Cody's match is coming next. Ogogo's entrance comes out.
They made sure that one of them was black too to throw off the set of what that promo was too.
Oh man, I didn't even like notice.
You didn't see? Yeah,
I was like tuned out. I was like looking
absolutely.
at my phone. But
okay.
Ogogo comes out. He gets a kind of a light response, but I'm cheering for Ogogo real hard. But Cody comes out and it's not as loud as I thought it was going to be, and I was like, "What is this?" Like, and it was still very strong. Don't get it twisted, but it was not at the level of like your Moxley's
you had seen earlier.
Any of the big baby faces, or hell, like Kenny got a great reaction as a heel when they came out. I don't know what the deal is on that, but some people think he's stale. Some people think this whole thing was a flop. This entire feud, and then the match happened, and then after the hot crowd, after Jungle Boy, Mox, like I said, in the building, that tag match was just insane, and then going up the hill was a Hangman and Cage match, and people were nuts over that. By the time you got to Cody, I think people got a little tired, and then they saw that match was not horrible, but it wasn't like explosive or heated or anything. They just kind of wrestled a match, and it was just like, okay, wow, Cody fucking won. Like, and maybe I didn't see it coming, but Floyd insisted Cody was going to win this. Finisho and Chad insisted Cody was going to win this. I believe I listened to, I don't know if it was Joe and Rich from Voice of Wrestling. It was like, well, if you have a go-go win, all the champs are heels right now. There's nowhere for him to go. It's not like you have like a big babyface champ you're preparing him for or something. So for me, like seeing Ogogo's actual output in the ring, I can live with the booking decision of him winning, right? And I think if he's not able to come back from this, maybe Ogogo isn't what I thought he was. However, like sitting there in the building, that shit was just like, are you fucking kidding me? When Cody won, what'd you think of this?
This match stunk. No ifs, ands, around about. There's no ifs, ands, buts, or ways around it. The match stunk. The crowd didn't care. The crowd got quieter and quieter, and after the crowd, more or less, like it was funny because I think it was somebody on announcing mentioned how, everybody was still on their feet, for the first, from the time the opening bell started at 8:00 to Joe Boy wins the match. They sat their asses down awfully quick during that Ogogo Cody Rhodes match.
Yeah, I could tell you they were standing up half the tag match and like the last 3/4 of the Cage and Page match. They were also standing up during the Serena Deeb and Riho match, like half of it. This one, people was on their ass, sitting down.
Yeah. So this match, it for what they were going for to try to put over Ogogo as this wrestler that has more or less has WMDs that he can dispose at any given time. It didn't work. Like the match starts out early and he ends up, he avoids one of the gut punches. And then later on, like shortly after he hits someone one, this was not the Finn Balor Kyle O'Reilly liver shot. Absolutely fucking wasn't. So he actually at one point hits with another one. At one point he actually hits him in the jaw. It doesn't knock him out. No nothing. No, I think got a near fall for 2. The match just didn't work. It just didn't work. And Ogogo didn't look impressive. Cody didn't look impressive either. There was a part where Cody, I forgot which eye Ogogo is partially blind in, but
left one.
All of a sudden, there's a cut on. Okay, so all of a sudden, like they're on the right eye, above the right eye, not actually on the right eye, but like his right forehead, the right side of his forehead. All of a sudden, he gets opened up. I think they said that QT Marshall bladed for him, which is like whatever. I don't care. I didn't see it. So, but then also I'm like, wait. I understand one of his eyes is bad. I can't remember which one it is, but either way, he's bleeding from his forehead. He's bleeding from his forehead, not his eye or above his eye or his eyebrow. What the fuck? It just didn't work. It just didn't work. I wouldn't even say like it just didn't work. Like there was nothing. And then at the end, like, you know, I think he kicked out of a crossroads, so he ends up beating him with a vertebraker. The crowd didn't pop or thought that was a finish. It just ended, and it was like, all right, get this the fuck on.
Yeah, I don't think Cody's used that as a finisher in AEW yet, but that's his super finisher, I guess, when he was in ROH before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, for a vertebraker, it looked awfully safe. No, I mean, and you know, I'm not saying that to say that like I want him to be dropped on his head, obviously, but it's like that the way it looked like just a move. It looked like a big move that's gonna get kicked out of it too. Yeah,
man. Yeah, and it just I was looking around, like, you know, I think people jumped off, you know, the reservation with some of the Cody, Triple H, Jeff Jarrett stuff, because I mean, Cody's body of work, I think, in AEW kind of speaks for itself as far as him sacrificing and being unselfish and, you know, getting other people over. And if you don't think so, I would suggest you go look through it. But something's got to change with him. Like,
watch how he's trying to get over Warhorse.
Yeah, yeah. like he's not Triple H. He's not Jeff Jarrett. I know like the Jeff Jarrett jokes are funny and all that, but if I can keep it serious for a second, in the words of Lance Storm, or if I can be serious for a minute, but I think he's got to find the next kind of great creative thing. He works well when he's bouncing off his family. He tried something here, which is admirable. Like, if it was a situation where, I mean, Ogogo's a prospect, like, and I'm not throwing Ogogo away based off this match, but if you're gonna, like, this was one of the results. Like, if we were putting this shit in a simulator, this was one of the results that, you know, could have popped out here. And I think what didn't work for me was the America stuff. He came out dressed as some comic book shit that I didn't know what was going on, but everybody said was some type of controversial character that which played even more into the tone deafness of it. And
yeah, well, I don't know if he actually intended to dress like this person, but he dressed like Buddy from The Boys, and Buddy from The Boys is based like evil. If Superman was evil.
Okay, yeah. So like, I don't know.
Like that's the character. If we were in a not DC Comics reality where we basically like the show called Boys. The Boys is basically like, hey, like what if we were violent and gory and actually were some more realistic and we DC villains, but we are DC characters, but like we can't use that because DC will never give us approval. So we'll use all these people that fit the archetypes of all the DC characters that you mostly know, and like that person that they say he looks is basically evil Superman, like right. Fascist Superman.
Man, that makes it even worse. Like yeah. So I think Cody's got to face the music, and maybe he needs like he doesn't seem to want to turn himself heel or anything right now, but he's got to figure out what makes him compelling again, because I feel like a lot of other people are more compelling to him at this point.
Well, I mean, it comes back to like, where else is there for him to go aside from doing more? Like this whole thing with wrestling the factory or whatever else was a step down for him, as if he's one of the four biggest stars or four biggest acts in the company, five biggest acts in the company, whatever you want to call it, right? So that'd be what, Jericho, Omega, Moxley, Young Bucks, and him. So he's one of the five biggest acts in the company. Him fighting QT Marshall, and then QT Marshall's like green rookie, like, no, that's a step down. Regardless of however good, you know, you thought of Ogogo as a promo or his presence and how he dresses and carries himself, like, and how he carries himself, like, that is a futures play. So like you clearly knew what this was. Like he saw quickly fucking this T Marshall. Like we knew this was scraping the plate with him, and he's ran through so much shit that is like, what else if he's going to wrestle somebody new? Who would it be unless that's why I was like, all right, well, it would be, Moxie right now, or would be like, you mentioned like maybe he does Hangman eventually, but it's like, he doesn't seem to want to wrestle anybody else that's actually on his level. He wants to wrestle everybody else in the fucking kiddie pool. Mm-hmm. He wants to wrestle Jungle next. He wants to wrestle like, Guevara next, some shit like that. Actually, that probably is coming up considering like the first Dynamite was, when they turn on him. So that probably is right up the pike of like the redemption of, he's not an asshole anymore. So he has to get out of the I am a top star wrestling the mid-card guy. Actually wrestle somebody on his level after he's been sent packing from that about a year ago. But like he has to get himself back to that point. And I don't know what he does now because he's burnt through so much shit. Like of so many angles and personal feuds. It's like, all right, well, this is the reason why you're blading every other match you're in.
You think do you think Miro may lead to him at some point?
Do you want him around the TNT title again?
Not so fast. Like maybe if there's a situation where
eventually.
Yeah.
Okay.
If there's a situation where he needs to come in and kind of save the belt to give it to someone else, he's Razor Ramon right now. Like it's like, hey, if we need to if we need to he can beat people above his level and he can drop the belt to people below his level. Like that's kind of what he's on. Yep. Or he needs to really get in a creative bag and give himself meaningful stories. Like if you're essentially he's turning himself into I hate to say it, like the Undertaker or something, where you're not the champion, but you're this other act. And then people can get with you for a certain amount of time when they want to do this certain style. If they're someone that wants to do promos and old school wrestling, whatever, you send them the Cody direction, it's a branch, it's a tree of branches, and hopefully you ideally you want the tree to grow bigger branches. So if you send someone the Cody direction, they can sprout their own branch and bring someone else. But he's got a lot to face, and hopefully during the time off that he takes with his child coming up, he comes back refreshed, because what we saw is only the beginning of the I would say apathy toward him.
And that's another part about it, right? We think that he is going to go on
what if he does
paternity leave, right?
What if he does?
Just like Moxie does. No, I mean, we don't know what he's going to do. We know we have an idea that Moxley is, right? But if he does, right, that would be his third time going off TV this year.
Mm-hmm.
How many times are you going to go away and hope that people miss you? It's almost like you were Paul Pierce chasing that return tour. The people don't I don't want to get into the Draymond Green jokes that he said at Paul Pierce's expense.
Yeah.
But my whole thing is you regardless of whether he was taping that show or not, the fact that you have done this 3 times in a row, quick succession, you're almost like some Boy Part Wolf type shit. So I mean, I don't know, he's almost in that weird situation where I don't want to say it's not nearly as bad as Charlotte, but it's it'd be nice if she went away.
For the ones who know that a little late is always too late, and that the clock doesn't stop just because you're missing a part, Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry. And our Keep Stock inventory management solutions help ensure you have the right stuff in the right place at exactly the right time. Visit Grainger.com/keepstock to learn more. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Discount Tire has just made tire shopping easier. Their touchless experience allows you to buy tires and book your appointment online. Then when you drive in, you can stay safely inside your car as the tires are installed. Discount Tire. Let's get you taken care of.
And then she fucking goes away and she's banging oh damn, she probably go away again. So I really don't know. I think he needs to get himself into a feud with somebody that actually is a threat, not somebody that we know is a project of his, a passion project of his he's trying to get over. I think he needs to get in the ring with somebody else that we know could pin that man 1, 2, 3, and it won't be as I'm using Cody Rhodes' name to get that dude over. I think that's a lot of the situation he's been in. Is so much of what he's done is being being to do programs with other people to get them over, as opposed to like him being the star. Like, you think of how AEW started, where it was like the Young Bucks and Kenny were so busy putting everybody else over. It was like, when are y'all going to show yourself to be stars? Like, Punk never got out of that. The Young Bucks and Omega finally did. He never got out. He's still been out here trying to get everybody else over. That shit has to stop eventually, because we're starting to get tired of him.
Yeah, it's interesting when you look at when you bring up Kenny and the Bucks in comparison to Cody, because, like you said, it's weird. Like, I wonder if they would be getting the same like kind of backlash like that Cody seemed to face now. But you know, I don't know.
But their styles are different.
Yeah,
their styles
I think
are different.
they're much
so like
more
the
crowd
stuff, like,
pleasing. Yeah.
I wouldn't even say about the crowd pleasing part as much as like the stuff and the emotion that Cody is trying to draw out of you is exhausting, right? And like, how many more times can you go into that well of that, right? Of that fire, as opposed to like all right, bro, like not every, like for example, let's talk about the difference between Kevin Garnett and Tim Duncan, right? Tim Duncan will come out here and give you that 21 and 11. And then call it a fucking day, and then when it's crunch time in the playoffs, he's able to reach back and give you the 35 and 15 type of deal or whatever else. KG can do that too at times, but how hard is that when you are going out there and giving 24 and 12 and four assists and playing the best defense and being the best football player in the league and treating every game like it's game 7? Eventually, somebody's gonna burn out, and like, watching Cody go through this is exhausting. Like, not him himself, but you as a viewer watching him go through all of these emotional things over and over can exhaust you. Like, so like, that's kind of my worry for Tam in Stardom, of like, you doing all these emotional feuds. Luckily she hasn't, like, she only let her defend the white belt one time, but like, my worry is like, she's so into doing these deep emotional things. Like, once the Mayu match comes, once the Kamakami match comes, like, are people gonna look up and be like, bro, all these things are like so super exhausting and emotional, and eventually, like, can I just get a regular? Also, the next point match, can I just get a regular ass feud where one person is challenged for your title, and it's not like, James Boy has to talk about an advanced course in the backstory to get to this point. So,
and then you look at the world title match on this show,
and then
it's like a sportsman's kind of thing. It's like, all right, these guys are coming for the belt or whatever. It's not this long drawn out war that he's had for months with Moxley or whatever. Like, it was a different kind of feud,
right.
And I see what you're saying. Like with Cody is like, if everything's the most important and traumatic thing to happen to him, no, eventually it's like, is it really? Like, we need to see the competitor again. That's why I think the TNT title was good for him, because it was strictly about the competition for a while for him. And I think he needs to get back to like KD. Let's go back to being competitive and going at these folks.
Yeah. So, like, I think that's a big thing that comes in. And then you mentioned, we'll get to it. Like, as far as like, that was just a big dumb triple threat match that like we've seen, that we've seen different variations. Like, this wasn't some, like, they weren't trying to rewrite the wheel when it came to triple threat match. Like, did a lot of stuff where it's like, you do a big move, somebody gets thrown out the ring, and then someone tries to steal the pin or whatever else, and tease that someone's going to steal the pin. Like, that was it's probably what, aside from what, that Royal Rumble 2015 match, that might be the best triple threat match I've ever seen.
Yeah,
it's on the shorthand list.
Yeah, I think I gave that 4 3/4 as well.
So it's like, but that's the thing. Like, it wasn't. Yeah, but my thing is like, something like that is like a change of pace. Like, Cody doesn't have a change of pace. Like, everything is 98 miles an hour on the inside of the plate. Like, bro, can I get a curve? I don't want to say curve because it didn't make you think I want some goofy shit, but like, can I get some off speed stuff? Can I get a slider here and there? You know what I'm saying?
And to be fair to him,
can I get the change up?
I was like, to be fair to him, they did do like him in the celebrity match, which was like kind of different and all that with Shaq, and then the Jay Cargill.
But
stuff.
that's the most fun thing right, and that's like the most fun thing we've seen from Cody all year, right?
Yeah, I would say so.
Anything else? Yeah, like so. I think and obviously he is the utility guy, but it's like. When it's pay-per-view time, it's always something big, and it's like it don't have to be like that all the time, bro. Like, get yourself an exhibition match with somebody.
Mm-hmm. Up next, we got
an exhibition match built on. The manager is like the person that is QT Marshall and QT Marshall is like Larry Zbyszko and shit.
Yeah, like they should have went there. Like there's a way to do what they were trying to do, but like I think he blended like 3 angles in one, and then just it fell short. If it's going to be the Nightmare Factory versus the Factory, or the Nightmare Family versus the Factory, like instead of being able to break this out for 6 months like you could have, like they probably did it in 2.5, maybe. So. We got the TNT title match, Miro and Lance Archer. Miro ended up getting the win, submission with the game over. This was just okay. I know what they wanted to do, but it seemed like they had a different idea than what we thought, kind of. Archer tried to jump over the ropes, which if he didn't botch that, I think that would have got them off to a hell of a faster start. I wanted to see them beat the shit out of each other more, and I just feel like they didn't. Like, they tried shit. Like Archer, of course, did his moonsault with the rope walk and all that. Like, he was a great athlete. But I wanted them to beat the shit out of each other, but they didn't.
There were some good shots in there, but it wasn't. It wasn't what I was expecting. It wasn't what I was looking for, and especially get how hot those promos were last 2 weeks. As far as like they almost like told us like, hey. We finna beat each other's ass in here. Like, there'll be some furniture moving around this bitch. And it just not to that level. Just not to that level. Match, I wouldn't say it was a bad match, but I was disappointed.
Yeah, I'd probably go like 3.25 on that one. But yeah, like crowd was still kind of, I think, just
I'd probably go like 3 flat.
Crowd was just kind of sitting there, just like
and also
still traumatized from the Cody match, I think, on this one. And they came out and
all right, so let's get to it. We talked about the interference in the first 3 matches of the show. So we didn't talk about Cody with QT coming out there and messing with the ropes or whatever else, and that wasn't that bad. So I'll let that slide. And he get him scared of Arn, which is hilarious. But Jay the Snake comes out, and this is obviously a play on like he came out and attacked Jake either a day before or whatever else, or at the fan meeting, or whatever the hell.
Yeah.
So he shows up with a bag that we're supposed to think has a snake in it. And I'm okay with that because like obviously like if Miro really had thrown the snake, they had to shut that whole operation the fuck down right in that second. So like we're supposed to believe that it's a snake. I'm laughing at the fact that it's clearly not a fucking snake in there. Miro takes the bag that's supposed to have the snake in it. He yeets that fucking bag, and I howl because I'm like,
screaming.
There's clearly no fucking snake in there. But look, there's no snake in that fucking bag. But he threw that shit, and we're supposed to believe there's a snake in there. So it's just hilarious how these fucking carnies. So whatever, like I howled at it. So whatever, like that was the best part of the match to me was how. That was
Miro, noted non-animal fan. Remember he threw the fish at Lana.
Oh my god!
Similar energy here,
Oh my god! Up it went, buff up the aisle, up the ramp.
Yep. So up next, we had the AEW Women's World Title match. Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, defeats Hikaru Shida in like just over 16 minutes. The post match was among the more unique things I've ever seen in wrestling. I thought this was a little sloppy at first. By the end, they peaked the drama, I think, beautifully. And Britt climbs the mountain finally. A lot of people were very happy about this. I was happy to see Britt finally win. Like, this is a perfect example of like, hey, don't push this babyface too hard. Pull it back on them. Turn them. Let them get over. Do it when the people are ready. And the people have been ready for Britt. And the DMD chant is like, got a life of its own now. After the match, they were chanting, "Thank you, Sheeta." I can't think of the last time a babyface champion has ever got like some thank you chants after losing the belt. Like, because like we know the challenges this woman faced. When you talk about working with people at all levels of experience, everyone from Abaddon to Swole to like Statlander to Penelope to Ty Conti to going over to Japan to Ryo Mizunami, who, you know, she had some familiarity with, and finally back to Britt. She had like 9 or 10 title defenses, and she held that fucker for a year, and she was a solid, like, it was a place for the belt to call home, like, while the division like was essentially being rebuilt around her. You could always count on Hikaru Shida to like at least try to make something out of it. As far as the match, there, like I said, it wasn't so much about the match, but I did like some of the stiff shots that they gave to each other. It was a little sloppy. There may have been a part where Britt hit her head or something, but in the end, like, people were living and dying on these near falls, and this match brought the crowd back out of the Cody malaise.
Yeah, I don't know what to do with this match because, like you mentioned, like, it was a mess at points. But I while watching it, I thought it went like 5 minutes too long. But while watching it, I kept saying to Zach and Jeremy and Dan, like, all right, man, this match isn't hitting on what they were trying to go for, but like, just get to the brawling. And then they start cracking to the forearms. I was like, okay, like, they can salvage from here. So, you know, they went to some good sequences. Reba with the fucking cane cracks, or like cane cracks, Sheeta accidentally cracks, Britt, more interference. But yeah, like, by the end, they came around. They came to the right finish. Like, it was this crucifix pin. She rolls through the crucifix pins and slaps on the her mandible claw deal, and she ends up winning. I think that, you know, I thought the stylized glove was a little bit too much to me. That was inverted in color, but there were a lot of jokes about Hall and the Outsiders to be had.
Yeah. So what do you make of, like, A, Sheeta's run, and B, like, where Britt is now, like, almost transcending the women's division in popularity?
Sheeta was a very good champion for what what was given to her. It's unfortunate the year, but tough shit that's happened to everybody, right? I'll take away the tough shit because that sounds like I'm whatever. Like, everybody had to deal with that, but, you know, the amount of stupid shit she had to do as a champion, like having to sell, like, scared for Abaddon, which is like, what is it with these American promoters and having them being like, having Japanese women be scared of like these fake monsters and ghouls, whatever else? Because it happened with Asuka. It happened with Asuka's too. It was like, what the fuck's going on? But you know, like you mentioned, the women's Olympic tournament was a huge success, in my opinion. Some of her title defenses, like, I think all of her title defenses, except for the Mizunami matches, were was like, she's having as good a match she can have, given the circumstance. Like, the Mizunami match didn't work all the way, but most of it did, or a good amount of it did anyway. So, like, I think that, you know, if you have anything that you would take back, is you think the Mizunami match be better, but that's pretty much it. So she did what she could do. Now, as far as Britt, Britt's the most over person division. I don't think they should turn her babyface immediately. I think they need to have someone like let's say if Jade, blossoms in the ring, and like, she can become the heel that enables you to be able to turn her face down the line, right? But just turning her face because she's the most over person in the division, nah. Like, she got you're cutting off what made her get over in the first place. So what's the point? It doesn't hurt anything for her to just cheat. Like, she cheated against Sheeta, and everyone still likes Sheeta. Like, she can do the same thing. It's fine. I don't know. I don't know what she has for her in front of, as far as opponents, except for a Thunder Rosa match.
Okay,
right now.
So she definitely has a Big Swole match because Big Swole did get a victory over her. Big Swole, I think, isn't necessarily. She's not going to set the world on fire in the ring, but they're going to be able to do mic work for sure in that. And she's somebody that
right,
owes Britt a win, technically, quote unquote. They can do good mic work, and it'll get you through something to be the first challenger. Maybe you're looking at a Statlander. For me, the natural two, like, no doubts are for me are Swole and Thunder Rosa. But if you can come up with one more person to stick between Swole and Thunder Rosa, I think that's like the path to success here, at least.
They'll come up with somebody, like bring up Ty. They'll have Ty, do a job or whatever else. But yeah, Statlander is someone I'd imagine they say pay-per-view. Yeah, I mean, they'll look. There's names that just don't come to mind right now. They'll figure it out. Like, they can reach in and grab and pull Serena out. They can do a Riho. They can do a Riho third match between them if need be. I think that she's so much bigger as far as I think that her problem for me right now is she outsides everybody else as a personality on the division that is like, who's going to. They have to actually dedicate time to get someone to rise up to that level as far as personality, because they've done she's the only woman they've ever done that with. So they have to like do that to somebody else to then get you to feel that way. Like, we have Jade now. Jade would be somebody I would say they've invested that kind of time into as far as mic time and vignette time and promo time and segment time with. But outside of her, them the only two. So they have to do more investing to get that personality thing over. And we'll see what they do. I have a lot more faith in them. Say again?
They could throw Riho in there as a challenger too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think I mentioned that, but maybe I forgot. But yeah, because I think they've had 2 matches. I can't remember, but like they're owed another title match, whatever else, and that can also get through. Like Britt's gonna have a title for like 6 months, so they have the answers for that. I just hope that while they have her as the champion, before they get to Jade or whatever else, like they use her as the Trojan horse to get to like building up the personalities of everybody else. Like, we already know they have enough good wrestlers with Red Velvet and the like, but like, can they get the personality up to where now you have, aside from more or less 2 stars with Jade and Britt, to where you have a Red Velvet rise up, Swole, more people can get into Swole's personality. Not, we'll see what they do with Nyla. Nyla's in a weird situation right now, but I mean, they can always turn her heel when they have her turn on or get rid of Vicky. But yeah.
So yeah, the reaction after the match, like as I mentioned, like totally unique in wrestling, and I think some of the more smooth brain journalists that have tried to like spin Hikaru Shida as this albatross and this terrible champion and all this stuff, like they should like be ignored. And
yeah.
So up next, we had Darby Allin and Sting against Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky, and this was a blast. Fantastic match. Probably go 4 stars on this one.
Same.
Yeah, like Sting was phenomenal. I was sending videos to the chat of me saying Sting like Ric Flair on the last Nitro. When they were requesting him to fight Sting, and he was like, "Yeah, Sting." Like it was. It was. I think I might have tweeted a couple out, so go check those out. But Sting and Darby, this partnership has been amazing. Darby also, for this deep in the show, Darby was like getting these reactions that we knew, like, man, had we sent him out there earlier, that's as big as a Hangman reaction. That's as big as a Moxley reaction. Like, and like I said, Sting was excellent. I think Paige and Sky looked great as heels. Paige fucking threw Darby like gorilla press style into the fucking crowd from the ring. Scorpio Sky worked well with Sting
into his brothers.
Yeah,
the people that caught Darby were his brothers.
Oh wow, you know,
yeah,
fuck your family too. Apparently, that's what Ethan Sky says. So or Ethan Page, but Scorpio Sky looked good with Sting, and Sting looked awesome like on the hot tag. Like obviously, like you know, Sting's not an everyday wrestler or anything, so he's got to kind of charge himself up for these things. But for being 62 years old, like. This was like a this is one for the ages, really.
If you go back to 2015 and you go through every Sting match to this point, he I don't know who, if it's him, I don't know if it's the who he's been with that had this kind of reverence and protection and care. But he has had some of the greatest sports entertainment layouts of all fucking time in the last 6 years. Absolutely. You go back to his match with Triple H at WrestleMania 31. You go to his match with his matches that he had on that Raw when he fought Big Show, and then he had the tag match with Cena. You go to his match with Seth. And then you go to here. His match layouts are superb. And like it only worries, like obviously Sting can still do some wrestling. He's been in the game for decades. But the main thing is this is one of the most charismatic motherfuckers that's ever been on a mat in a canvas. And he has these recognizable things that he does, and he just goes out and does it, and the crowd goes fucking banana for it every single time. And it works. It's never not worked.
It was big in the building. Like a lot of people, this was their first time seeing Sting. People have been waiting to see Sting their whole lives. Like Finisher had never seen Sting. I thought I had never seen Sting, so I remembered I attended an Impact taping in like 2011. But
I saw Sting once on a Nitro in Amalie now, but it used to be called the Ice Palace, where the lightning play. Like that's the only time I remember ever seeing Sting. No, I take that back. I saw Sting at when I ran to Orlando in 2005. Like that's funny. Like I bought a ticket to that Orlando Raw, and like I went there basically on 2 hours notice to go to that Raw, and that has to be the last show that had Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes on the same show, and Sting was on it at the same time. That's crazy.
Amazing.
Yeah. I just went there at random. Like they had some John Cena and Rusev thing going on at the time. But yeah, that's during that build. So that was like a February show. Anyway, like yeah, so it was just incredible. Darby, just a master seller. Like and obviously like the thing that really helps his selling is the fucking bumps he takes makes it like once you take crazy bumps, it's easier to sell. Like I don't suggest any dummies do that stuff because I think he's an idiot for doing that kind of stuff. But he's a great seller, and then he maximizes his opportunities by doing this crazy shit. Except this huge hot tag for Sting. Sting went wild. They did the goofy thing where like the illegal men have the actual legal men in submission moves, and then Darby and Paige are trying to gouge his eyes out, which leads to, it's just one-on-one where it's Scorpio Sky and it's Sting. Scorpio gets a better for a split second. He goes for his springboard stunner. Sting catches him and hits with the even flow DDT. Superb match. Stinger splash. Like I'm watching it. And Rich, you recall this? Remember the match with Seth Rollins? At was that Snap Champions 2015?
Yeah.
When I was like, when he caught him in the second Scorpion's death, I'm like, fuck it, put the belt on him, do it, just whatever. Like during the match, I was literally in that mode, just like so happy to see Sting again. Sting's my third favorite wrestler of all time for y'all that don't know. So like just to see that, I was super happy. And then I was like, the only thing missing right now, this match is going great. The only thing that's missing right now is a back fist. And then like literally seconds later, back fist. I was like, hell yeah, this is fantastic. I was so happy. This is my favorite match in the whole card. It really was. Like I love this match. And like, he beat Scorpio Sky. And Scorpio Sky, like, he's a tag team guy again. Like, I'm not, people that thought that Sting was going to become the fucking AEW champion in like 6 months, like,
it's real rough.
Nah, like,
it's real rough.
Yeah.
Like,
so, like, if you want to say that, like, him and Scorpio Sky is in a row, like, bro, like, look what Scorpio Sky is. Like, he was a tag guy. He got a title shot. They never, like, I know his music is, reach for the sky, but ultimately it's like reach for the mid card. So like that's where he is. He's in the middle. Yeah. So like he can do a job for Sting on that night, and like we'll see what they do as a special connection with Darby and Sting going forward. But
I was talking to Chad.
There's money to be made for them in like future, every 6 months them doing this as a tag team.
Like I think you gotta eventually look at doing Darby Allin and Sting versus the Bucks, giving them a title shot at least. Like that would be like that would do business. That would draw either a rating,
it would,
or it would be a good pay-per-view match. And then like
it would.
I was telling Chad and Dave, I was like, the way they've used Sting is just like masterful. It's like Sting has his own role and his own little corner carved out as every kind of show guy, where it's like he's a part of the environment and he's not an interloper. So it's like it feels better. Like
this is what I'll say. If they do build up Sting and Darby to be a tag team, get a tag shot eventually, I need Darby to win that match.
Yeah.
I don't there's one thing when Scorpio Sky is as big of a fucking Sting fan as me, and he's like, I just want to put this dude over. That's one thing. But like, if he comes out here and he's pinning Phoenix, I'm going to fucking be furious in like 2 weeks from now. And you know how I feel about them being like, I'll be treating Phoenix how I used to treat Oscar. Like, hey man, why the fuck are they beating this person? This makes no sense. This person's the best. So yeah, like. Yeah, if that's what they want to do, just as long as Darby's one is winning the matches, that's what really matters, not Sting or whatever else. Yeah. It's about Darby. As long as they keep this focus on Darby, they'll be fine. And they've done that for the most part.
They've done that. So
yeah.
Up next, AEW World Title match. Kenny Omega defends and defeats Orange Cassidy and Pac in a hell of a match. I don't know if he's gonna get his 5-star match from Dave in a triple threat match like he's seeking. He could. I think.
Wait, what?
Like it's this thing me and Josh think Kenny's trying to do is he's trying to have this 5-star triple threat match because he keeps trying to do them in every company. And he may, like I said, he may get it from Dave.
What did Meltzer give the main event to WrestleMania 20?
4 3.
4 3/4. Okay.
So. This one was fucking excellent. All three of these guys came out. All of them were over in their own way. Cassidy, like, crowd was going ape shit for him. I felt like ultimate respect when Pat came out, and even more like ultimate respect when Kenny came out, because it was like Kenny's music is weird because like it drops to like that silence before it comes in, and then he steps out kind of, and like the building, like the tone got different when he came out there. And it was like, yeah, man, like this shit's gonna work out just fine. Like as soon as they ring this fucking bell, and James mentioned earlier, like they started doing the standard triple threat stuff, but like these guys were so much more over that standard stuff was more effective. Like so it doesn't feel cheap almost. People were ready to accept the quote unquote cheap win for Orange Cassidy. Had he thrown somebody out to win this fucker. I don't think I've laughed more than Kenny Omega hitting Pac with 4 different world title belts. I was fucking hollering.
Once he hit the first one, I was like, is he going to hit him with the other 3? And sure enough, he does, and I started laughing. It's like, this is like the best thing Kenny's done in months. Like,
crowd was chanting one more belt as he was, preparing for the last one.
Really?
Yes. I thought Orange Cassidy was excellent in the match. Like he had people living and dying with him, like wanting to win badly. He's got to get a singles match, I think, at some point.
I agree. Yeah, this is the success of whatever happened. Like the success was, you want Orange Cassidy to get a title shot, a fair crack at Kenny Omega 1-on-1, and I think I think, when we're doing predictions, I was like, aside from the Ogogo thing, like I pretty much predicted every single thing on this thing, right? Done like correctly. But yeah, like I thought it was a very good match. I can't give it a full rating because like this match, like the internet dropped like for like 3 minutes. So like we were watching from like Jeremy's phone after like a minute and a half went by. So like I had to rewatch it. But my problem with the match, as far as not like loving it as much as everybody else, is like I never for a second thought that like Kenny Omega was not leaving with the fucking belt. Like he was. I never bought a single near fall. I was like, oh, okay, he stole the pin. That's hilarious. I'm like, look at this dumbass crowd. I'm sitting there like, look at this dumbass crowd.
Bro, people bought every one of them near falls. Every one of them. I was looking around like, all right. And then maybe I kind of lost myself in the match for one of them. I don't remember which one it was, but it was like, I looked at Chad and I was like, all right, they kind of got me right there. And Chad was like, they kind of got me too on that one. But
like, so the one that like I thought was I can't remember, but like one of the two biggest ones for Orange Cassidy was Omega's in trouble. Callis yells shit, and then you hear the mic, and then you hear his mic get dropped on the floor, and then all of a sudden I don't know if, or not on the floor, but on the table, and you can see like you can clearly hear like he's getting up to go make a save, right? So I don't know if Shivani or Excalibur or Ross is like, where the hell is he going, whatever else, but it was like the second he yells shit and drops him, you're like, oh, he's about to go pull the ref for some shit. Everybody go save. And sure enough, the next thing you know, you see, crowd goes wild. 1, 2. I'm like, me watching at home, I'm like, I want to say a smart, but like someone is like, you've seen this, how this goes. I'm like, I'm gonna pull him out of the fucking ring. And sure enough, the crowd's like, and they show the reactions of like people losing their mind, looking like the Undertaker guy from WrestleMania 30. I'm like, you goddamn goofballs, you really thought Cassie was going to win AEW World Championship? Get the fuck out of here. There's so much more money. Like, even if Orange Cassidy eventually does become the AEW World Champion, there's so much more money in another match down the line than right fucking now just randomly out of nowhere. Well, what do you think?
There's a lot of over baby faces that when it's time to go back on the road, they got a bunch of heel champions for them to wrestle.
Yeah. So
smart.
So what I will say come away from this match is Kenny Omega is fucking awesome as usual. Pac, I'll never get over how the kind of fucking command he has in the ring and body control. Like, he's just another fucking level. Like, the fact that like we've seen him wrestle as fast as we can ever see any other human possibly fucking wrestle on a blur, and then like the way he has, because he's still a mean bastard heel person or whatever else, or that's still his persona. Like, the fact that he has the audacity to get up on top of a top turnbuckle and take 5 minutes to finally dismount and hit a shotgun drop kick, and no one says anything to him because like it's kind of awesome. It's like he just has control of what he's just at the peak of the fucking fake sport. Like, he's awesome.
And if you guys have never seen Pac in person, just seeing like the Black Arrow in person is like just a beautiful experience. Just watch him go up there. It's so graceful. It's so impactful at the end. It's like a real like live just like finisher. Like, you hit a bitch with that. Like, if there's no shenanigans, your ass going down.
Right. And that's what I mean. Like, when he does that perch, like, because he takes forever. It's like all it does is build anticipation. Like, when this fucking guy jumps off this thing and does basically like a spinning, or sorry, a rotating shooting star press, like, you're just going to be impressed. Like, he's just so in command. And like, like, obviously I think they would have had a better match had it been just those two and have another one, but like, this is in its own thing, is like special in its own way, and like, congrats to all three of them.
And they opened the door to like kind of like this, and I would say to WrestleMania triple threat from this year. Kind of like, I don't want to say they've changed or flipped the script on like how we look at triple threat matches and everything, because like even then, like, I think they were laid out to accomplish different goals. Like they weren't trying to make nobody in defeat in that their WrestleMania match.
No,
this
not
one,
at all.
this one had a little bit different goal.
Nah, if you want to compare it to any WWE triple threat, I would say probably that Brock, Seth Rollins, and John Cena from Royal Rumble 2015 were like that more or less made Seth Rollins that night.
Right. Yeah, that's a great comparison. And yeah. Another classic match. Like I don't worry about these things. Like Chad and Dave had asked me like what match I was looking forward to the most. I looked up and down the card and I was like, you know what? I'll take the Kenny Omega World Title match on pay-per-view. Usually those things work out well. Like,
and that's a weird thing for me with this card. Is like I didn't because of it's like okay like I said like all these matches I can pretty much predict up and down what's going to happen in all of them. So it's like I didn't really have something that I was like I can't. Like this, there was no exploding barbed wire death match, grudge match between Omega and Moxley for me on this card. There was no Young Bucks versus Hangman and Omega on this card. There was no Jericho and Moxley match on here for me. None of these matches built, called for me in that way. Like. So I was just like, all right, well, I have no expectations other than it'll be a good show, and obviously it was a great show.
Yeah. Then we got the Stadium Stampede match. Man, gotta tell you, man, this was a long match. It was 32-26. Very kind of different tone than last year. However, I still think they hit a bunch of comedy site gags. I thought the entrance to this was fucking amazing when I saw the inner circle like on the fucking zip ties or whatever they were like in Jag Stadium going down. Like I was like, holy shit.
Well, I had three thoughts. One, Shawn Michaels WrestleMania 12. Two, Owen Hart, obviously.
Yeah.
And three, like Metal Gear Solid, like the scene at the end where they're trying to get the fuck off the island before to try to stop nuclear explosion going off, and like you're rappelling down the side of the building. Like those are the three things that came to my mind. So like once I saw it, oh yeah, this is pre-taped. Oh, I'm good. So like once I remember
I think I had the same thought. Yeah.
Organized it was pre-taped. I was like, okay, like I think we would found out if fucking Sammy Guevara had died before they aired this shit and just ran on with it. So I was like, okay, we're fine.
Yeah. I gotta say, I like the layout, like of them going from the pre-recorded to the live, kind of like your Boiler Room Brawl, Mankind and Undertaker, SummerSlam '96 type feel. I thought it was a little long, but I enjoyed, some of the different scenes where it felt like they were in these different areas. Like when Sammy went in the room with Shawn Spears, it felt like I was watching Mortal Kombat or something, and all the team combat or whatever, where they break off the scenes and you see like the underlings fighting, then you see like the second tier guys, and then you see the big guys like on different levels. Like it felt like Mortal Kombat to me.
Okay, so once they split off and branched off from each other, I thought that the Wardlow and Hager thing was fun as fuck. I thought that the MJF and Jericho one with the side gags when you have Charlie Strong and Urban Meyer were fun and were fun as hell. I liked it. Didn't have an ending, so I had to give it a big grade. But I did enjoy like the club scene thing. With Conan there and them drinking before they start fighting. It reminded me it's almost like a O2 the drink thing with Hangman and Hager last year.
Yep.
The one that I did not like was Sammy and Spears because like they did where the fuck did that lighting come from? Like what? So the lighting, I was like, this is like, I get it. The site is like, he's a chairman and he's in a bunch of chairs and like,
Psycho.
He started dancing with the chairs and made me think like, I wanted to see him do the full little Parker deal with the chair. And I wanted the man to do the hop on one leg and all that, but he didn't go all the way. The part where he was looking for weapons to pick and he picks bolt cutters, and then Sammy throws the bolt cutters. And then he ends up getting handcuffed, and then he looks and like all of a sudden, like these bolt cutters, got thrown end up underneath a
pallet.
A pallet, and I'm like, no, not possible. The physics aren't physicking. No, not a chance. Absolutely not. But whatever. Like, okay, at least they showed me how you could get out. At least, so it's like whatever. So I would have came up with a better way to do that. But whatever. So, but yeah, like overall, I enjoyed it. Did it go too long? Yeah, probably. But like, I enjoyed it. Them cutting to live, I wasn't expecting. So when they cut the live, I was like, oh, they cut the live, and it made me think of, like you mentioned, the Brawler Room Brawl. Made me think of Royal Rumble with Owens and Reigns from earlier this year too. Mm-hmm. As far as like we pre-shot some shit and we'll cut the live or we'll cut back or what back and forth. So, but yeah, when they ended up in the crowd, like Sammy, you know, he lost. He's the reason why they lost War Games. He ended up getting pinned in Stadium Stampede last year. It was appropriate for him to win.
Bro,
and Sean Spears
another hot moment.
So that was cool. Them playing out the Judas after that Judas shit was taken off until the pandemic shut it all down. Might breathe new life into it. It was a fun celebration at the end. And like I always thought that like Inner Circle's gonna win is like they need a signature win as like this super important faction in AEW history for the year that they've or 60 or 18 months that they've been together, more or less. Like they finally got their their big win that they never had as a unit really. So I thought it was perfect for them to win.
Yeah, man. When they pulled back up in the arena, it was like new life back into the crowd because we didn't know they were gonna pull back up in the arena. We thought we were all just watching the screen and we were reacting. We were like, "Oh, that's cool," but then it came back. It was like they fucking remembered us. Like, and then it was like I was like, why would they not come back to the arena in front of the hottest fucking crowd like that I can remember? Like. And then they fucking did. And then when Sammy rolls up and he ends up, doing his 630, the crowd, I feel like everything I've ever said about Sammy Guevara on this show felt vindicated in that moment. Like he's just as much in that class of young stars as anyone. And his juxtaposition from 2 years ago, he's on the fucking buy-in to losing last year in the main event. And then this year he's standing tall at the end, like getting the win. It was just like, hell fuck yeah. Like go fucking get him. Like it was him. Like this shit was about him. It was about Jungle Boy. It was about motherfuckers rising up. Like it was about Hangman
Darby,
a couple years ago. Like think about where all these dudes have come from. And then it's just like I don't know where it's going.
Orange Cassidy. Even while losing Orange Cassidy.
Right. Like Britt Baker, her getting crowned. Like, and it's like the progression of these people like in these 2 years is like, damn, they still got their main event class, like your Omegas, your Jerichos, your Mox, and Bucks, and all those people still ready to work with these people. And it just like felt like a proper night of elevation, felt like a celebration. I'm rhyming right now, but going from the empty stadium back to us, and bro, like singing Judas at the end was just like, it felt like an all-time moment for an all-time show. And he did about a 5-minute speech after he went off the air, and it was just like, damn, like I'm so glad to be a fan of this company. So glad to have been in this audience. Like it's possibly the best show in company history. All
Out was fucking absurd, bro, and also Revolution. But I mean, it's up there. It's easily one of the 4 or 5 best shows they've done.
Like. It just felt like, man, like when they do it right, I don't think the Revolution show, like it seemed like, when they fuck up, the sky is falling almost. But when they don't and it's good, it's like, who's fucking with them? Like it's just like, it's a great film to have been in that crowd. I feel lucky to have actually like gone. And yeah, All Out's in Chicago. I don't think I'm going to go to that one, but whenever they go to Vegas, I can't wait to go.
So what did people get refunds on their 2020 Double or Nothing Vegas tickets yet, or are they holding on to them for like 2 years?
I think the Vegas tickets turned into this show. If they still held.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but
okay. I gotta say, Like you buy tickets and you buy tickets to plane or whatever to Vegas, and then he's like, nah, bro, you need to cash that whole in and send it to Jacksonville. You lost. I'm sorry, you lost. I don't give a damn. It was the first event in pay-per-view. You lost. Yeah. I've been to Vegas. I've been to Jacksonville.
Oh, it's different.
10 out of 10 Vegas.
Bro, I was riding around Jacksonville. That shit was like a ghost town. Like it was like, bro, what the fuck is even here? Like it, like I don't know anything that's going on in Jacksonville. Like nothing but water everywhere. Like it's just in emptiness, you know. But I was just around the downtown area. Like maybe other parts are different, but I was not trying to.
It ain't the strip in Vegas.
Look, I was gonna say I was not trying to be the subject of the next "Who I Smoke" song, so I stayed in the one area that you know. But like I said, incredible fucking show. Checking the Discord now to see if someone asked anything about the show. Looks like nothing that is. Oh, okay. No, we kind of covered that stuff. Yeah, man. But overall, like, awesome show, hell of a return, and they needed one of these. I think, especially coming off the last.
I mean, we all needed one of these. Think about this year. Like, right? So, Wrestle Kingdom, what was that? What was the best night of Wrestle Kingdom this year? Night 1 or 2? Night 1?
I'm going to go 2.
I can't remember which one it was. Right? One of those nights was just one of it was there, right? Then you got the 2 takeovers. You got the 2 Stardom pay-per-views from March, the Budokan, and then the one from March. You throw in like maybe 1 or 2. You throw in like a couple NXTs and a couple Dynamites, and by the NXTs I mean like the takeover and a half deals that they did, like the New Year's Evil shit. And then like this, and you're like, yeah, that makes up like the 12 best nights of the year. Like we haven't had that much great wrestling this year compared to like, you know, obviously nothing compared to 2019. It's unfair, but like even compared to 2020, I think we had better. We had at least halfway through the year, we had, you know, even like the second half of last year, like we had more good shows than we've had in like this, which is like shocking considering like we figure we have learned more, but like nah, not really. It's really weird. Like it's really weird how this year has worked out. Where I'm like, how many undeniably great shows have you seen this year, James? I'm like, the ones I just named you, kind of it.
Yeah. I like the first day of WrestleMania, but not on this level.
Oh yeah, WrestleMania. Yeah, okay. So check this out. Even if we throw in like in grade on the main roster curve, right? Night 1 of WrestleMania and the last pay-per-view. Because if you take away that stupid ass Miz zombie match, like that is a good ass show. So like that's kind of, even then, like that's kicking it out to what? In six months I saw like 15 good matches, 15 good wrestling shows, kick ass wrestling shows. That's kind of low. I think I watched.
Man. Yeah, well, this weekend, I'm gonna see if the group wants to convene. Like the Cyber Fight show is this weekend. It's 6/6, which is next Sunday. I don't know if it'll be like Sunday night and then we wake up and the show's already been done. That's what I'm hoping for.
Is it Dominion 6/6 as well, right?
Dominion is Monday. 6/7. So I'm gonna see if the group wants to get together. Like I'm gonna hit up Zach and see if he's interested in joining. I know he's kind of been my I've had any questions or anything. He kind of convinced me to take the plunge for the Cyber Fight. So you know, if it's like really good, you know, we might have to talk about it. But
yeah, I'm down to watch it. I will say this though, like one doesn't have anything to do with the other, but like, have you seen those top 3 matches for Dominion this year?
I have. We can talk about those real quick.
That looks like they are trying. They're trying
to save the
shit's not blowing up. They are trying to have a great show in a week or two. They absolutely
how nice
are.
Of them, you know, Kazuchika Okada versus Shingo Takagi for the vacant IWGP World Heavyweight title. And I gotta say, man, Okada and Shingo, you could do a lot worse than that. So you can do a lot worse than the best match that she won last year. Yeah. I'm expecting Okada to get the belt back here. I don't think they're going with Shingo now. If Shingo is going to win, maybe next summer. But I think getting the belt back on Okada until they can figure out some stability is a great move.
Yeah. Trying to think. What is the? There were two other matches I can't remember off the top of my head. I'm blanking on.
Jeff Cobb versus Codabushi.
That's right. That match is gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
Cobb. That Cobb Shingo match is fucking incredible from beginning of the year. Yeah, whichever night that was, it had that Jeff Cobb in night 2. So night 2 was the night that had the Cause I mean, I think that match went like 10 minutes too long, but it was still an incredible match. So yeah, definitely.
And then you got Yo taking on El Desperado. So all the Yo section can stand up.
Yeah.
So me. So we're gonna see what my dog Yo does. So but I don't know anything else on the card, but I think there's been some Road to stuff going on. Maybe Tanahashi and Naito are circling each other. I don't think they'll do that match. But yeah, we'll see what the rest of the card looks like throughout the week. I'm sure check out Keepin It Strong Style. I believe they will probably have all that stuff. You can just follow them on Twitter and all that.
Yeah.
But,
so one thing I just realized, like, you want to talk about like what this year has been so far, as far as kind of lacking, considering all the great places there is wrestling. Like this next month could be like, shut up, James, because like you got this show, you got this show, you got this loaded weekend with the oh my god, I'm blanking on the name with the Cyber Fight coalition of 3 promotions. You have Dominion, and then the next week after that is Takeover and Stardom's next pay-per-view. So like it could be you could be off the bat with like 5 great shows in 3 weeks.
Yep.
So
we will see. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got. I was damn happy to be at that show. And the cage match is looking real good on the numbers on this show. Good God. But yeah, that's pretty much it, man.
Yeah. Same here. You want me to do the rundown to end it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's in the show. Thanks for listening. Be sure to raise the number app you're using. Listen to this with. Also go to the Red Circle and hit us with a donation. And go to ProWrestlingTees.com and ProWrestlingTees.com/Social Suplex. Pick some official Social Suplex Network merchandise. We have the O's on Top shirt, which is a big deal. Chris Jericho ending the show on top. Also as well, be sure to watch the other shows, listen to the other shows on the network. You have this show, One Nation Radio. You have Keepin It Strong Style. You have the Ricky Clive Wrestling Podcast. You have Women Washington. You have 8-Bit Suplex. You have the Grave Consequences Podcast. You have All Things Elite. You have Great Match Generator. Thanks for listening, y'all.
Peace.
Later.